Hello everybody, so welcome to our penultimate fodder beet video of the year, and we are now doing what has kind of become a bit of a traditional end of summer review. See how the crop's doing at this point. And we're still a good 6 weeks, 2 months away from harvest yet. We are middle of September today, and we won't look at harvest until at least the very end of October. So there's still plenty of growing time left yet. So this is a bit of a kind of become a bit of a tradition to do it this time of year. This is kind of a second update on the crop. So we've done quite a few videos on it this year. So you saw us back in April. We were cultivating, we were rolling and power harrowing. I think that was a vintage Thursday video because the 1200 was out. Then we drilled. Again, it wasn't a vintage Thursday video, but it could have been because we used the old 35. So that was in, I think it was middle 20th-ish of April that was put in. It was actually the earliest we've put in for quite a number of years. I know the professional sugar beet growers, they like to go real early for their drilling, and they like to be in March if they can. And we have never really had a great success going as early, planting in April. I don't worry too much if it doesn't go in before early May. We'll quite often, if you plant into warm soil, it's away and it's up within a few days. And if we have to wait until May for that to happen, I don't get too worried. But we went early this year because the conditions were right. The soil was warm, it was dry, and it actually grew very well for an early crop. And we also did the vintage video, the vintage Thursday of hoeing the fodder beet, and with the 2 different hoes, because I said at the time spray hadn't been over successful this year with the weed control due to the dry hot weather at the end of May, early June. The weeds were a little bit drought stressed and they got like a waxy coating on the leaves, and it didn't take the spray very well. So we've not had great weed control. If I turn you around, yeah, it's not great, but it's not, it is what it is, so we've got to deal with it. So we've had a couple of dry weeks on it. It's very hot today. We've had 3 very hot days in a row for September, and it is suffering a little bit. It's wilting. They will perk back up if you come up in a couple of hours time in the evening. They will perk up again overnight, but you can see they are suffering a little bit in the heat. So if we scratch around underneath the leaves, we will see it's quite dry. Okay, so there's quite a dry soil there now. Said in the drilling video, we have got a different variety this year. So there's actually 2 varieties in the field. What is on the headland is last year's variety, a bit of seed we had left over. So if I go and find that, because we were having problems last year with harvest, where the variety was standing up out of the ground a little way, and because they were so big, our harvester was knocking some over rather than collecting them up. So if we just go to the headland, we're a little bit, this is the worst bit of drought stress here. We'll go and find somewhere else where the leaves are standing up a little bit better. So just a little variation in the soil type in the field. So we're on the headland here. You can see the hedge is not far away. So just around here, I'm stood on a line where these leaves are much better than these ones here. They're wilting away a bit. There's kind of a little circle going up about, I don't know, 50 foot away from me. You might not see it on the camera, but there's a definite patch here of slightly more wilted leaves. And if we come around this side, you can see it's much healthier. Standing upright, so it's clearly different soil types in the field. But what we came here to look for is, so this is last year's variety, and this particular one here is not too bad actually. It's not stuck up out the ground very high, but some of them last year the roots were up really quite a way out the ground, and which is just a variety. It wasn't anything wrong. Nothing happened that shouldn't have happened. There's loads of different varieties and they sit different amounts in and out the ground. So what we did for this year to try and eliminate the waste at harvest time was changing our variety, and we drilled that second variety in the centre of the field. So I'm just going out to the centre now. And there's quite a big patch of, it's probably not showing up very well, but where the drought stress is on that is a little ridge through there. And there was a hedge in this field many years ago. I can't remember it. It might have been there, I'm not sure. It was around, probably was round about there, but it's way before my time. But right, so we're into the less drought stressed part of the field. Let's try and find, let's go over there. So these leaves are much more upright, and if we dig down through the leaves, hopefully we should find they're sat much lower. It's going to be a bit dark in there. I'm not sure if we're going to see very well, but if we just try and knock the leaves back, so you can see that root is much deeper in the soil, and again the one next door to it. Very little of the actual root is sticking out the ground, which is what we were looking for. So the reason for having the different varieties is because there's a range of different harvester types. And what we've got, I'm not going to pronounce it because I don't know how you say it, but it's a sugar beet harvester with lifting wheels that go into the soil and kind of squeeze the roots out, and then they put it up into the cleaning system. We will do a video in a month or so of preparing the harvester for work, so we can kind of go through then how it works and what does what and all that. So that'll be a video coming up when we get it out the shed. So we'll get the harvester out the shed in a little while and prepare it for the season ahead. So apart from the weeds and the bit of, there's areas of drought stress. I'm stood in another one here. The crop is looking very good. We can never tell until it's in the shed. You know, we kind of gauge what kind of year we've had by the size of the clamp we've got at the end of harvest. Last year it was a very drawn out affair, the harvesting. We did a bit in, I think we started end of October. We did a little bit and then it came too wet again. We did a bit early December, which I think is what I filmed. I think that's where the beet harvester video come, early December last year. And then we did a bit more in February. And then I think we finished off early March. So we never actually, fortunately we never ran out. We always had enough to feed the cows throughout those prolonged harvests. So we never ran out, which is good. But equally, we never got a big pile to gauge our crop. So we kind of don't know last year's yield, but it was good enough. You know, we never ran out. And we had just enough to see us through to the cows till turnout. So that's what we need, that's ideal. But we can't say it was a good year or a bad year, you know, because we can't gauge the size of the pile when it's done in multiple harvests throughout the winter. So hopefully this year we will come in and we will start harvesting and we will do it and be finished in one go. But obviously, like everything, it's weather dependent. So we don't know what's coming until we actually get there. Right, so hopefully that should do. We've had a look at the crop. All we can do now is wait till harvest. So if you haven't subscribed, please don't forget to do so. And then obviously in time, the harvest videos will come out and we can come back and see how it actually turned out. But other than that, I will say thank you very much for watching and we'll see you next time.